The students of geography often ask, and they want to know how the earth was formed. Even before that, they wonder how the entire universe was formed in the beginning of the creation. So we are now going into the details of our study. So far we have advanced in the study of geography, how the universe was formed in the beginning and how we have come into being. Now, there are two types of thoughts prevail today regarding the origin of the universe, and this is for the first one is monistic hypothesis or parent hypothesis. It does actually explain in the beginning of the creation, the entire thing, all the objects was in the form of small particles and they got consolidated together to form the universe and the planets in the vast space. This is called the nebular hypothesis. Kant, Laplace, and other scientists were the proponents of this monistic hypothesis or the parent hypothesis. Then came the dualistic hypothesis, biparental hypothesis, it is also said, and Jeffreys and Russell, Chamberlain and Moulton, they are the proponents, and they said that there are two parents for the formation of the earth. The sun was shining in the vast space and another planet, huge planet, came close to the sun. It was passing by, and due to the attraction, a part of the sun came out from the main body and got split into several bits to form the planets, and all these planets started moving around the sun. Our earth is one of them. After that, we progressed. These types of thoughts actually started developing some 250 years back. But with the progress of the civilization, people started learning many things about the secrets of the formation of the earth and the universe. And this monistic hypothesis explains in 1755 that the whole thing in the space, all the planets in the original form, they are in the gaseous form. And as they got consolidated together, they formed the planets. Immanuel Kant was the proponent, as I have said earlier, and the nebular hypothesis in 1796, it is also said that it was proposed by Laplace. He said that several bits, several forms of the material in the gaseous form started building together independently in different places in the space. Then comes the dualistic hypothesis. This hypothesis started developing in the beginning of the century, of this 20th century rather, and people by that time have more information about the space. Through the telescope, they have seen the bodies, the celestial bodies and the planets from all distances away from the earth, and they started thinking in certain and different ways. For example, in parental hypothesis, Chamberlain and Moulton jointly in 1905, they put forward a theory, or rather hypothesis, as they thought that all the materials were in the space and they started getting consolidated together to form the planets. And how this is the process, how all the planets came into being. This is a generalized concept, and just after that, in 1919, James Jeans and Jeffreys, they proposed another theory almost close to it. It is the biparental hypothesis, and they believed that the sun was there in the space, and one big star came close to it as it was passing by. Due to the attraction, a part of the body of the sun came out, and it started splitting into bits, into small planets, and they started moving around the sun in the form of small planets. That is how the solar system finally developed. This theory was accepted, and the students, starting from the beginning of this 20th century, started learning that yes, this is the fact. This is the fact about the formation of the Earth and the solar system as well. It prevailed for quite a long time. But another theory came up. There's the most recent theory about the origin of the universe. People are looking for the origin of the universe, how the process started, how it formed. And Stephen Hawking, a scientist from Cambridge University, he has done lots of work on this. He has a very good book. It is called two books are there, composed. One is the universe, and another is the brief history of time. And I would ask my students to look through these books. They will get to learn many things about the secrets of these new theories and the hypothesis. As I've said, the most recent theory, it is the black holes and the Big Bang theory. What is a black hole? Students often wonder, what does it mean? Is a hole with the color black in it, black color in the space of the hole, and how the Big Bang was created. What is it? Big Bang means huge noise with the explosion. Now let us see what is the core concept of this Big Bang theory. Now before that, we have to know that in the last century, two concepts developed. One is this Big Bang theory, and the other one is the steady state theory. Big Bang theory came first, and then came in the second half of the last century came the other theory, which is called the steady state theory. Now, according to Big Bang theory, who was the proponent? Let us see first. It was Edwin Hubble, the American scientist, American astronomer. He believed, and he put forward a concept to the people that it seems, and I would like to tell people that the entire creation started from a huge black hole, which was in the space, and all the objects, the materials, the light, everything was concentrated into it without any movement or anything. So this was the big black hole, and with the gravitational pull, all the materials were very much inside the body of the black hole, and there was no motion, no movement, no object, and no light. He proposed this theory during the year 1922 to 24, and after that, as he explained this theory, he said that there was a huge big explosion with which the creation started. He called it a Big Bang. That means the huge explosion. Now, how it came into being, how that scientists started thinking about this. In the laboratory experiment, it was found that anything moving away from the center at a very high speed takes a color which is almost close to the red. And when any object comes towards the center, it's become greenish. And the others, almost stationary, they have the color whitish or slightly yellowish. And with this, when he observed, and he found that in the space, most of the stars, almost 70% of the stars in the space, they look reddish. And this red color actually made him wondering why they are red. And some are very few in number, they are greenish, and some are whitish or slightly yellowish in color. Through the laboratory experiment, when he got to know that it is due to the speed, centrifugal and centripetal movement, moving away from the center and moving towards the center, that makes the difference in color. So he came to a decision that maybe there, in the very beginning of the creation, the whole thing was in the dark space, in the black hole, and started moving away from the center. So what actually started moving away from the center? They are the objects. But in a black hole, there is no object. Everything, all the objects I told earlier, that all the objects, the matters, and the lights, they were actually concentrated in the black hole. And after that, they started spreading. Now, to explain the beginning of this spreading system, he had to believe, he had to say that it is the sort of explosion. And he named this explosion as the Big Bang, because in the universe. And he said that all the objects started spreading from the center. The number of red stars that you can see in the sky, in the dark sky, and as I said, they are greater in number, more than 70% of the stars are moving away with red colors. And he said that these red colors, stars, moving away from the center. So what happened? That means there was a center somewhere from where the red colored stars started spreading away. So he had to project the path of all the stars, and finally thought that there was a center from where all the stars started spreading after, as he said, Big Bang or the explosion. And that is how the entire creation started. Now, when we look at the sky, in the darkness, we can see the red stars very clearly. But today, in the cities and towns, due to pollution, it is very difficult to make out the color, exact color, and also the positions of all the stars. But one has to go to the pollution-free areas, on the mountains, or in a vast meadow somewhere, so that we can see them. The black hole, as he said, was just, he said, we can imagine how vast it was. But we have to, first of all, ask ourselves, was there any explosion? Was there a big black hole? Why? And how it was formed? The answer would be, yes, the NASA in America, they started searching for the solution of this question. The NASA in 1992, after about 30 years of search, they found out that yes, there was the existence of the black hole and there was a Big Bang. How? Theoretically, when we see the matters, if we ring a bell with a hard hit, it rings up and continues to fade away. The sound continues to fade away gradually. So gradually the waves become reduced in size, and as long as it rings in our ears, we can hear, yes, it rang some earlier times and it is actually now fading away. So from that point, NASA thought that yes, maybe if there is a Big Bang, if there is a huge sound of explosion in the beginning of the creation, there must have been a sound, and which is now very gradually diminishing. Now, how long ago? Scientists like, as I said earlier, Edwin Hubble, believed that it is about 10,000 to 20,000 billion years ago this huge explosion took place. But anyway, if it did happen, this huge explosion, the huge and heavy noise, that should be still diminishing, but the remnants should be there in the space. So the NASA started searching for, with all their very scientifically advanced monitoring system, whether this ringing, that means the fading away system, that means the noise is still there. And finally, in 1992, they have found that yes, the ring is still ringing, sound is still there, it is fading, it is very, very now in low noise, but still there. So that actually made them a big progress in the study of the origin of the earth, through the thinking, through the belief that the entire creation started from Big Bang. After that, other theories started coming. The next one is the steady state theory by Dr. Jayanta Vishnu Narlikar, scientist from Patna University, and Edwin Hoyle. But before I go to the second theory, very current theory, I would like to tell my students about the story of the black hole and Big Bang from the philosopher's perspective.